Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum viewers. My name is Professor Dr. Rizwan Jamil Qureshi and I am covering the analysis phase techniques. In my previous video, I covered the requirement gathering techniques and I covered the requirement modeling using structured approach. Today I am covering object-oriented modeling. And object-oriented modeling, we have two type of techniques. We have static techniques and we have dynamic techniques. So we have static diagrams and we have dynamic diagrams. The difference between static and dynamic, the static shows the static aspects of the system. Like we have use case diagram, we have class diagram, and the sequence, collaboration, activity, state show dynamic aspects of the system, that how objects interact with each other. Now comes the static modeling. The use case is the first diagram among all diagrams, in which we have requirements. We already gathered the requirements using the requirement gathering techniques, and we have use case as functionality. So what are the main contents of use case diagram? We have actors, we have use cases, we have artifacts, we have boundary. So these are four main components of a use case diagram. Now comes the actor. What is the difference between actor and entity of data flow diagram? This is the question normally I ask to my students. Entity of data flow diagram can be internal, can be external. Whereas in use case diagram, actor is always external entity. It cannot be internal. Then we have use case. We have process in data flow diagram and we have use case in UML. Now what is the difference between them? The data flow diagram process can be decomposed into sub-processes, like we have context diagram, level 1, level 2. So process of level 0 can be decomposed into level 1 and then level 2, level 3 up to level 18. So use case, in contrary to process, is a complete functionality. We cannot break down like the process of data flow diagram. Then you have data flow. Here we call artifact, data flow in data flow diagram and artifact in use case diagram. Artifact is a piece of information, is a piece of info that can be produced. Produced means output. That can be used means input. Can be modified mean update or edit. So that can be output, input, or output or edit. So output, input, edit. So artifact is a piece of information that can be produced, modified and used by a use case. So that's artifact. And then we have boundary. In UML use case diagram, we don't have data store, but we have a boundary. Boundary separates the inside or outside of a system. So these are four main components of a use case diagram to draw use case. Then what's actor? Actor is a type of class of users. For example, a user can have multiple roles. For example, I, as Dr. Rizwan Jamil, is an instructor. I'm a professor. I can be a supervisor for undergraduate and postgraduate students. I can be a committee member in the departmental committees, the administrative job. So I can have multiple roles. So user will be displayed by two different actors in case of if he has multiple roles or she has multiple roles. So that's about the actor. So actor does not necessarily be a human user. Actor can be external system, actor can be a hard disk, actor can be a backup server, actor can be any hardware, for example sensor, RFID or biometric devices. So that can be an actor. It is not necessary that actor is always a human user. So we have to identify the main actors, that what are the main actors of the system before we draw the use cases. In order to identify, so you have to consider something. For example, use case represents a process or sequence of actions. Use case represents a complete functionality. So there is no need to represent an individual action that is part of functionality. So what are the questions we need to answer before we draw the use case diagram? What are the main tasks performed by an actor? Will the actor have to update or read any information? Or actor have to inform the system about the changes that are made outside of a system? So what are the unexpected changes? Actor have to be informed about the unexpected changes by a use case. So these are some questions we need to answer to draw use case diagram. Then we have relations. In use case diagram, we have include or uses, or we have extend. Uses or includes symbol is used when one use case uses the data of another use case. In that case, we use uses or includes. And extend, we have a symbol when there is abnormal action, or we have a new behavior or course of action. For example, in logon, if your username or password is wrong, so you cannot log on. So system will ask you to enter the username or password, that is extend. Or for example, ATM system, you insert your card and you enter your PIN, and your PIN is wrong. So that means it is extend. So we have uses or includes, and we have extend relation. We don't break down the use case, so we doesn't show how the actions are performed or how the use cases are carried by the actors. In that case, we have use case description to provide the details that how the use case diagram or the use cases will carried out by the actor, or how they will perform an action. Let's see an example of a use case diagram of a university registration system. We have 4 actors: student, the office guy, instructor, and the clerk. So we have class registration, and we have 2 extents: registration for a special class, or student has not cleared the prerequisites. For example, I am teaching a course 251, Software Engineering 1. It has a prerequisite 250, CPIT 250, System Analysis and Design. And prerequisite of 251 is 250. So before student can register in 251, he has to pass 250 course. So extend if prerequisite course is not completed. So then you have the billing use case. So there are 4 use cases in this diagram. Let us see another diagram. But before that, we have use case description. I want to show you there are different templates to show use case description. One is this format, the tabular style. Another format is the description. I have seen 2 pages of use case description for each use case. So for each use case has use case description. So if there are 4 use cases, you have 4 use case description. I have seen use case descriptions for system that is implemented in America by Descon Infosys. It is an ERP system, and there were 2 pages use case descriptions for each use case. But for academically, we use a template like we have use case name, For example, you draw the use case and then you provide the use case description. What is the use case name? Class registration. What is actor? Who is actor? Student. Description. Student completes the registration form by entering this information: course number, section number, semester number, year. On successful completion, student will submit the form. Alternative, is there any other use case doing the same job? If no, we provide none. Precondition, student account has been created. Post condition, student has cleared the prerequisite courses and previous dues. Assumption, student will print the registration slip and go to the cashier to pay his fee, or online he can pay the fee. So that is an example of a use case description for class registration use case. Now I have use case diagram for ATM system from customer point of view. So we have a customer enter his PIN number after inserting the card. So card validation, PIN validation. Then he will insert his PIN, inserts the card, enters the PIN. So if validate, then he can see the transaction menu. If not, card is invalid or PIN is wrong, then extends not validated. Transaction has further, we have use cases. We can have option, we can withdraw, we can deposit, we can transfer cash, we can pay bill, we can check the balance. So there are multiple use cases we have in the transaction menu. So these are an example. It's not complete, but it's part of the ATM system from the customer point of view. Then from ATM operator, who starts the machine, shut down the machine, plug the cash. So this is a second example of ATM. Then we have class diagram. Class diagram has symbol. We have compartments like class name, second compartment data. It's like a rectangle. So class name, data or attributes, there are different names. Processes or functions or methods or procedures, that is the third compartment. So first row class name, second row data, the attributes of a class, and then methods or functions or procedures. So that's the class symbol to draw class diagram. Then you have association to show relationships between objects. Like ERD diagram, we have cardinality and we have degree. Cardinality, for example, one to one, one to many, many to many. But there is a difference in symbol in ERD diagram and UML. In ERD diagram, we show crowfoot, but here we have a star symbol to show many. One is the same, so instead of we have crowfoot, we have star symbol, one is written as one. But in class diagram, you can exactly specify number of objects. For example, if a class, the maximum limit is 15 students, so you can mention 1.15, or there is 20, you can mention 20. And then you have degree, unary, binary, ternary, or higher. Unary, relationship of an object with itself. For example, employee is a supervisor, or I'm a professor, I'm a supervisor, for example, it's a relation of an instructor with himself. Binary, between two objects, between two classes, for example, student, course. Ternary, among three, student, course, instructor. So there are three, or higher, for example, 4, student, course, instructor, admin, administration, or chairman, management, or parents. So you have multiplicity, which indicates like how many objects participate. Like I mentioned, if you want to limit maximum number of students like 15 or 20, you can specify. Then in class diagram we have generalization, we have inheritance. For example, parent class or super class, that a class that is composed of several generalized subclasses, and the child class or subclass, a class that is generalized. For example, vehicle is a superclass. So we have car, we have jeep, we have truck, we have bus, we have train, ship, aeroplane. These are the subclasses or child classes. And then you can have different type of cars like sports car, normal car, or for example in jeep we have different type of jeeps are there. Truck, we have different type of trucks are there. In train, in aeroplane, so you can have, the child will become parent and then it has child classes. So this is the generalization. For inheritance we call it is a relation. So it's like ERD. And then we have a concept, very important concept, we have aggregation and composition. Aggregation shows weak association between parent and child. Parent is not dependent on child objects, whereas composition shows strong association between child and the parent. So child object lives and dies with the parent. Let me explain with a simple example. King Abdulaziz University is composed of several departments. We have FCIT, Faculty of Computing and Information Technology. We have Engineering Department. We have Medical Department. We have Management Sciences Department. We have History Department, Environmental Sciences, etc., etc. If, for example, King Abdulaziz University decided to close any of the departments, any of the faculties, so Faculty of Engineering, Faculty of Computing, Faculty of Management Sciences, and so on, nothing will happen to King Abdulaziz University. For example, they decided, the management or Ministry of Higher Education decides to close the Environmental Sciences or History Department or English Department, nothing will happen to King Abdulaziz University. But the English department lives and dies with King Abdulaziz. Let me break down. FCIT, Faculty of Computing and Information Technology. We have three departments. We have IT department, we have Computer Science department, we have IS Information System department. If the top management of FCIT or King Abdulaziz University top management decides to close IS department, because normally IS Information System is under the Management Sciences department. But for example, if it is decided to close Information System department, nothing will happen to FCIT, because FCIT is there because it has still two departments, IT and CS. Whereas IS lives and dies with the FCIT. So that's an example. For example, we have a computer. Computer is an aggregate of so many components: hard disk, motherboard, we have monitor, we have a screen, and so on. Chips are there, processor is there. So it's an aggregate. King Abdulaziz University is an aggregate of so many objects, and the objects lives and die with the parent. So that's the strong association, we call it composition. And we call composition has a relation. So inheritance is a relation and composition has a relation. So we used to distinguish between them. And the aggregation we show, which is weak association with an empty diamond. Whereas the composition, which is a strong association, we show it with filled diamond. So this is some concepts about the aggregation, composition, generalization. This is an example of a class diagram for ATM system. This is one of my students. His name is Ahmed Bakri, Ahmed Munir Bakri, if I am not mistaken. This is his degree project. So we have ATM, and you can see filled diamond. the composition relation with the screen, with the cash dispenser, with the keypad, and we have the deposit slot. And we have inheritance for transaction, withdraw, deposit, balance inquiry, pay bill, uh, transfer cash. We can have more classes here, and you can see the relations, the cardinality, 1 to 1, and it's mostly 1 to 1 relation is here. We have account class, bank database, transaction, balance inquiry, ATM, and so on. So this is an example of class diagram for ATM system. Then I have another example of order processing system. We have customer, we have order. So we can see one to many. One customer can place more than one order. So we have many, 0 ... many. And then order has payment. And then we have is a relation. We have inheritance, credit, cash, check, and so on. And then we have order detail, which has aggregation. So order has order detail, it's aggregation with empty diamond, and then item is there in the how many items are there in the order detail. And again, from order detail to item, we have from item to order detail 1 to many. You can see star symbol. So this is an example, and you can see 1 in this diagram. It is an interface. So payment is the interface, and then 2 is the association, 3 is the class name, the 4 is the data, 5 is the methods, and then we have role name, we have navigatory, and so on. Then we have aggregation, we have composition, we have the cardinality is there. So this is about the class diagram. Then you have sequence diagram to show the dynamic aspects of the system. Sequence diagram shows how objects interact with each other. It has 3 components. We have objects, we have lifeline, and we have messages. Objects, we have horizontally axis, and timeline is the vertical axis. And the lifeline is the activation, the time period during which an object is executed, initialized, perform an operation. And then messages, we have 3 type of messages in the sequence diagram. We have simple message, synchronous message, and we have asynchronous message. Simple message, when an object performs its job is done, it will pass the control to the next object. For example, log on. Log on object job is to authenticate username and password. After that, it will pass the control to the form window. It will pass the control to form window. Or ATM, we have validate, card, validate PIN. Its job is to authenticate the customer is the actual customer and he has the account in the bank, and this card is valid, this PIN is valid. After that, it will pass the control to transaction window, transaction menu. So that's a simple message. Then you have synchronous. Synchronous message, like the network terminology, we have Bob and Alice. So they are synchronized with each other. We have caller and we have Kali, or we call it respondent. The caller waits for the user of the Kali or the respondent, the receiver, to provide to response a message. So caller waits for the respondent, receiver, the Kali to provide the data. Then it will perform its operation. Then it will perform its job, its function. So this is synchronous. For example, student want to register in 251 software engineering 1 and the prerequisite is 250 system analysis and design. So before student can register, the registration system will check what are the courses, what are the courses offered in the next semester. Student has cleared the prerequisites, so it will check student record that student has cleared the prerequisites. If yes, student has paid the dues, yes, then register. If not, then it will reject that you cannot register, select some other course or pays the dues. So this is synchronous example. Like ATM, customer wants to withdraw money. Like in Saudi Arabia, the maximum limit is 5,000 Riyal in 24 hours. When customer wants to withdraw money, two conditions are checked. The customer has balance in his account and he already did not withdraw 5,000 Riyal in last 24 hours. If not, and he has that money in his account, then he can withdraw. So the withdraw object will wait for the account to check that customer has balance in his account and he did not withdraw money in the last 24 hours. If yes, if no, yes, he cannot withdraw. If no, yes, in that case he can withdraw the money. So the conditions are checked, yes, no. So that is the synchronous. Then you have asynchronous. In asynchronous, the caller does not wait for the callee or the receiver to provide the data. Caller will perform its job, receiver will perform its job. It is normally used in parallel systems. For example, in plants, industrial plants, or in vehicle like car. When you press the ignition button, you start the car. The system sends different messages, synchronous and asynchronous both. The synchronous, for example, fuel is there, battery is okay, and asynchronous, like check the window is open, door, check the door, check seat belt, check airbag. So these are asynchronous. Even if door is open, window is open, you did not wear the seat belt, still car will start. So that's an example of asynchronous message. Now let's have an example of sequence diagram for an ATM system. We have customer, ATM and the transaction. So insert card, insert pin, validate card, validate pin, check the balance, perform transaction, eject card, thank you very much. So this is about the ATM. It's not complete, but it's just to give you an idea or concept. So we have object, ATM, object transaction, and we have colon, underline for the object. It is not necessary to provide actor. It's optional. You can provide or you don't need to provide, just to understand. One more thing I want to mention, that for each actor, you have to draw a separate sequence diagram to make it clear for the architect and for the programmers to understand about the interactions of the objects. But we can have generalized sequence diagram in which we can have more than one actors and we can show the sequence of objects. But it is not necessary in the sequence diagram that you follow exactly the sequence how the system will respond. So that is for the ATM. Then for ATM operator, we have ATM and we have cash handler, start machine, shut down the machine, set cache, plug cache, as you like. Then this sequence diagram I took from Modern System Analysis and Design book by Jeffrey Hoffer to show you the synchronous messages. We have open is a simple message. Then you have registration window, object, and then registration entry is there. Check if open, what courses are offered. So course offering. Then check the courses for prerequisites. What are the prerequisites of different courses? And then list of courses. And then student has cleared the prerequisites or not. Check prerequisite true. If it is true, then add him, increment in the registration as in the new entry. If class strength maximum limit is full, then thank you very much, you cannot register or open another section by the management. Then you send the confirmation message to the registration window and to the user or the actor. So this is an example of student registration system, and you can see clearly for course offering is weights, the registration window, course offering, course weights, what are the prerequisites. Student has from the student record, check the prerequisites are clear, check the strength maximum limit in the class in a section is full or not full. So these are the synchronous messages passed by registration window to the course and then the student object. Thank you very much. Please subscribe my channel and don't forget to press the bell icon to receive the latest videos about my lectures about the software engineering. Thank you very much. Jazakallah khair. May Allah bless you. Assalamu alaikum.